Alright, Reds, let's have a serious talk. Forget the official statements, forget the rehearsed press conferences. This is the city ground under the floodlights, just us. And right now, something feels different. Something is stirring at Nottingham Forest. And it's not just the autumn wind rustling through the trees on the banks of the Trent. We're at a crossroads, you and I. A new era has begun, not with a bang, but with the brutal, deafening silence of a 3-0 thrashing. A new gaffer is in the dugout, a man with a strong reputation and a philosophy that promises attacking football. But his Premier League welcome was a baptism of fire at the hands of Arsenal. His words since that loss have been sharp, urgent, and loaded with promise, or maybe with panic. He's made a vow, a declaration that things will change, and they'll change now. But are words enough? While one chapter begins, another is being whispered about in the corridors of power. The January transfer window is still months away, but a plan is already being mooted. A potential raid on a London rival for a striker who's lost his way. A number 9 with a World Cup dream hanging by a thread. Could a former foe become our savior? It's a gamble. Another roll of the dice from a board that already made the most controversial decision of the season by sacking the man who took us back to Europe. And that leads us to the immediate terrifying present. The next 90 minutes of football feel less like a league game and more like a final. A game that could define the next 3 months of our season is approaching. A so-called must-win game that carries the weight of 1,000 anxieties. Do we trust this new direction? Or was the sacking of Nuno Espirito Santo a monumental mistake that we'll pay for all season? That's the question keeping us up at night, isn't it? It's the debate raging in every pub, in every home, in every corner of this city. So before we break it all down, before I reveal the explosive details behind the new manager's promise, do me a favor. Click that like button and head to the comments right now. I want to know your gut feeling. Was changing the manager the right decision? Yes or no? Let the debate begin. Because the first revelation, the truth behind the new man's desperate vow, well, it's going to shake the very foundations of what we thought this season would be. He arrived with a reputation forged in Scotland and North London, a messiah of attacking football, a manager whose name, Angeball, became synonymous with a high-octane, relentless playing style. He was the man our owner, Evangelos Marinakis, supposedly handpicked to deliver the attractive football he was tired of not seeing under Nuno. But his first 90 minutes as Nottingham Forest boss were not a display of fluid brilliance. They were a disaster. A cold, hard 3-0 reality check delivered by Arsenal. For a moment, watching that performance, you could almost hear the collective groan of the Forest faithful. Had we made a terrible mistake? But then the man himself spoke, and his words were not those of a manager asking for time. They were the words of a man who knows he has none. I'm talking, of course, about Ange Postecoglou. After that humbling defeat, a journalist asked when fans could expect to see a team that truly reflected his vision. Weeks? Months? Postecoglou's answer was instant, cutting through the noise like a blade. No, it won't be weeks, it will be Wednesday, he shot back. I can't afford to waste time. This is not a long-term project. This club had a solid season and it needs to be even better this year. My role is to get us to the desired level as swiftly as possible. This wasn't just a soundbite. It was a declaration of war on mediocrity. He promised that the Carabao Cup game against Swansea would be the real start, the moment the true principles would be embedded. He said, I won't allow it to take long. The contrast with the final days of Nuno's reign couldn't be starker. The mood at the Nigel Doughty Academy was said to have grown stale, a waiting game as the relationship between the Portuguese manager and the board fractured. Players respected Nuno for what he achieved, but the energy had drained away. Now, Postecoglou, a hands-on coach who lives at the training ground, has arrived, and the shift has been immediate. Ryan Yates was quoted as saying the first session was brilliant, feeling the standards and intensity rise instantly. This is the heart of the gamble. Marinakis didn't just want a new manager. He wanted a new identity, and he wants it yesterday. But the question hangs heavy in the air. Is this burning ambition what we need? Or is it the reckless sound of panic from a manager who knows he's already under pressure? He's inherited a squad with key defensive injuries to the likes of Murillo and Ola Aina, and his infamous injury curse from his time at Spurs seems to have followed him, losing a star player just 37 minutes into his first game. He's promising a high-risk attacking revolution with a threadbare defense. Is that brave or is it naive? Tell me what you think. Is this the relentless ambition we've been crying out for, or is it a sign of desperation? Comment below now. I need to know where the fan base stands on this. Because if you think his plans for the training ground are intense, wait until you hear the whispers about his plans for the January transfer window. A raid on his old club is already being planned. The January transfer window is still months away. The leaves have barely turned brown, but in the world of football, the next battle is always just around the corner. And for Ange Postecoglou, that 3-0 loss to Arsenal was a brutal reminder that his squad, while talented, may lack a cutting edge. A plan, it seems, is already being hatched. A rumor is swirling. A whisper from a well-connected source that Postecoglou is preparing to raid his former club, Tottenham Hotspur, for a striker with a lot to prove. This isn't just about strengthening the squad. It's about a manager looking for a player he knows, a player who might be available, and a player who is desperate. The name on the list, the man tipped for a potential move to the City ground, is Dominic Solanke. The rumor originates from a fascinating source, former Spurs scout Brian King. He's spoken exclusively, suggesting that Postecoglou will be watching his old club very closely for anyone not getting regular playing time. And Solanke fits that profile perfectly. Let's be brutally honest about his situation. Spurs paid a whopping $65 million for him from Bournemouth last summer, after he exploded with a 19-goal Premier League season. He was flying high, getting called up to the England squad, looking like the complete centre forward, but the move to North London has been a nightmare. He scored just 9 league goals last season and has been plagued by injuries this term. With Richarlison finding form and the club signing Randall Kolo-Muani, the 28-year-old is falling further and further down the pecking order. He is a forgotten man. But here's the crucial part. The World Cup is next summer. If Dominic Solanke wants to be on that plane, he cannot spend the season on the bench. He needs to play and he needs to score goals. This is where Nottingham Forest comes in. Brian King speculates that a loan move could be perfect for everyone. Spurs get a high earner off the books and potentially see his value increase. Solanke gets the minutes he desperately needs to resurrect his career and his international hopes. And Forest, well, Forest could get a proven Premier League goal scorer with a fire in his belly and a massive point to prove. It's a tempting prospect, a player who just 18 months ago was one of the most feared strikers in the league. But the risks are obvious. Is he the same player? Have the injuries and the crisis of confidence in Spurs left their mark? Is he, to be blunt, damaged goods? Would you take Dominic Solanke on loan in January? Is he the clinical finisher we've been crying out for to support Awani? Or would we be taking on another club's expensive problem? Let me know your honest opinion in the comments. It's a massive decision that could define our season. But before any new faces can even think about arriving, the current squad, Ange Postecoglou's squad, faces a monumental test of character. A test that's arriving sooner than you think. One game. That's all it's been. One game into the new era, and already the word must win is being whispered around the City ground with a deafening intensity. The fallout from the Arsenal game wasn't just about the 3 goals conceded or the 0 points game. It was about the manner of the defeat. It was the sight of our star defender Murillo hobbling off the pitch. It was the confirmation of Ola Aina's long-term absence. It was the familiar sense of fragility we all hoped we'd left behind. And now, all eyes turn to the next game. It's not a glamorous European night or a clash with a top 4 giant. It's a home game against a fellow Premier League side, but it feels like so much more. The pressure is already immense. I'm talking, of course, about the upcoming fixture against Burnley. This isn't just about getting 3 points. This is a test of this club's soul. It's the first real chance for the fans inside the City ground to judge Postecoglou's Forest. It's the first time his players have to deliver on his promise of intensity and attacking impetus. Another defeat, especially at home, is unthinkable. It would immediately puncture the fragile optimism a new manager brings. It would validate all the doubts, all the fears that sacking Nuno was a catastrophic error of judgment. An early slide down the table, even in September, can create a psychological hole that's incredibly difficult to climb out of. The anxiety among the fans is palpable. This game has become an early barometer for our entire campaign. Can Postecoglou, with a depleted defense and only a handful of training sessions, galvanize this team to deliver a performance? Can players like Gibbs White, Yates and Awani step up and show the leadership this moment demands? This Burnley fixture will tell us everything we need to know about this squad's character and the immediate future of our club. And that leads to the biggest question of all. What does this moment, this single week of turmoil, tell us about who we are as a club now? Are we the ambitious, visionary European contenders the owner dreams of? Or are we staring into the abyss of another grinding season of struggle, defined by impulsive decisions and instability? The truth will be revealed on that pitch, so make sure you like this video to show your support for the team. Comment below right now with your honest prediction for the Burnley game, score and scores. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more raw, unfiltered Forest news, because I'll be here through the highs and lows. The big question remains, can Postecoglou's fiery words translate into decisive action on the pitch before it's too late? And know this, a bigger storm is brewing behind the scenes. A story I've been investigating about the owner's true feelings after that Arsenal humiliation. A story I'll be bringing you in the next video. You won't want to miss it. Come on, you Reds!